Welcome back to the channel, everybody. We've been working through our pre-spring practice position group previews on the offensive side of the ball here the last few episodes on the channel, and we're going to kind of wrap up that side of the ball this evening. I'm joined by Stacey Blackwood, my partner in crime from Tide Talk Sports, and he's going to talk a little bit about the tight ends led by Jahleel Billingsley, the quarterbacks headed into spring practice, and talk a little bit about the new offensive coaches at the University of Alabama as well. You're not going to want to miss a single minute of this episode of Tide Talk, and we'll get started right now. I want to start this episode off the same way that we always do, with a question for our viewers. Get in the comment section right now and let me know what you think. How many touchdowns will Jahleel Billingsley have this upcoming season? I'll pin that down in the comment section, and I can't wait to see what you all think about that. Personally, I think Jahleel is poised to explode in the Bill O'Brien offense, and I really am excited to see how he's able to flourish with the way that O'Brien tends to use his tight ends. We're talking about a guy that did coach Rob Gronkowski, after all. Stacey, excited and very much looking forward to hearing what you've got to say on these remaining position groups. Without any further ado, we'll kick it over to Stacey Blackwood.
Hey, Ricky, I appreciate you having me back on the channel today. We have a lot to talk about as we continue our pre-spring coverage and breakdown of the offensive position groups. And today we're going to start with the tight end group. And of course, that's kind of led off by Jahleel Billingsley. Billingsley is a junior tight end who showed some flashes last season as a sophomore, totaling 18 catches for almost 300 yards and 3 touchdowns, and was able to create some matchup nightmares for opposing defenses. So I look for Billingsley to be one of the big-time playmakers for this Alabama offense. Of course, the offense loses Devontae Smith, the Heisman Trophy winner, Jalen Waddle, who will be a first-round draft pick as well. So there's plays to be made on the outside. John Mechie returns out wide, and Ricky just recapped the receivers and kind of gave you his preview for them this spring last night on the video, so make sure you check that out. But Billingsley is a guy who could make a lot of plays for this Alabama offense this upcoming season. And, when he first got to the capstone, a lot of folks had the idea that he could turn into Irv Smith Jr. or an O.J. Howard type player, and I believe this season that could come to fruition, and he could be a great player for this Alabama offense and work his way into an early round draft pick after his junior campaign. Now that, we've talked a little bit about Billingsley, after that, there's some question marks. I believe that the tight end group is one of the most intriguing position groups on the offensive side of the ball as we head into spring practice. Besides Billingsley, you got Cameron Latou returning, Major Tennyson, and then you got 2 true freshmen in Caden Clark and Robbie Outs that are in the fold. So a lot of question marks at tight end when you look past Jahleel Billingsley. So that's the position group we're going to be watching real closely as spring practice continues to get inch closer, and then as we hope we get A-Day and we can see kind of what happens there. Next, we're going to look at some of the coaching changes that we had on the offensive side of the ball. And of course, that's kind of led off with Bill O'Brien taking over for Steve Sarkisian as the offensive coordinator. Doug Marrone replaces Kyle Flood as the offensive line coach, and those are 2 guys that have NFL head coaching experience, and Nick Saban once again just knocks his coaching staff hires out of the park. He also brings in a guy, Robert Gillespie, with around 15 years of college coaching experience, who's an elite recruiter to take over the running back position group. Just Nick Saban is just unbelievable. I'm not sure why anybody questions his hiring abilities, because everybody was panicking when Sarkisian left and Flood left, and of course the running backs coach took the head coaching job at Marshall. So, but Saban just replaces them with top-notch guys. I mean, Bill O'Brien has coached Tom Brady, so Deshaun Watson, excuse me. So, no drop-off here, in my opinion, with the offensive coaching staff changes that Nick Saban brought in. And, really it's just business as usual for the coaching staff there in Tuscaloosa. And as long as Nick Saban is there, I have complete confidence in the coaching staff and the recruiting ability of that staff. And you kind of seen later on here, as we talk a little bit about the coaching staff, that Nick Saban is starting to, some of these guys that he really wants, he just takes control of that recruiting situation himself, and he kind of closes that deal. So the coaching staff, great hires by Nick Saban, Bill O'Brien, Robert Gillespie, and Doug Marrone are going to be great additions to the staff, and I really look forward to seeing, what they kind of instill in the program here in spring practice. Before we go any further, I do want to, kind of tell everyone to subscribe to the channel if they haven't done so already. This is a great channel regarding Alabama football and all Alabama athletics, and Ricky does a great job of breaking it down and keeping it real for the Alabama football fans. So we hope that you'll subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you don't miss a single video. Now, as we kind of wind things down, we kind of save the best for last. And when I say the best, I mean the most intriguing, the quarterback position. Everyone is always intrigued by the quarterback position. And, there's kind of a famous saying that the most popular person on campus is the second-string quarterback. So there will be a quarterback position battle this spring, I believe, and I believe it may even go into fall camp. Of course, Bryce Young is the 5-star talented guy from California who come in last season, who many thought would be the starting quarterback before last year ended. And, of course, Mac Jones took that job and never relinquished it, and maybe had the best season as a quarterback in college football history. You could certainly make that argument. So, big shoes to fill for whoever takes the job. And I think the two main guys you can focus on this spring and heading into fall camp would be Bryce Young and Paul Tyson. Of course, Paul Tyson is the grandson of and relative of the great Paul Bear Bryant. So lineage there, and he's a legendary figure in the Alabama football world. So I believe that Tyson is capable. I believe he has a great arm talent. I believe he's not on campus just because of who he is. He's on campus of what type of player he is. And of course, there was this viral video that went out a couple of days ago of him throwing inside the Alabama Indoor Complex, and he was really dropping some dimes. And I think he was throwing to former guys like Miller Forstall, who's preparing for the draft. So I think Paul Tyson is a guy that could make some noise in this competition. But, if I had to put money on it, I would put money on Bryce Young. I believe that he is a generational type talent, much like Tua was, and much like how Mac turned out to be. So I don't want to write off Bryce Young just yet. I want to see this competition unfold kind of before my eyes and see how each guy handles it, because you never know how a guy's going to handle the competition. So we'll kind of see how that plays out in fall camp, in spring practice, and maybe even fall camp, but definitely one of the most intriguing position groups as we head here to spring practice, which, like I said, is just a couple weeks away now. We've almost made it to March, and it's hard to believe that football is almost back, and we certainly look forward to that. Ricky, once again, I really appreciate you having me on the channel. You do a great job for us here on the Alabama Football News and Rumors channel, presented by Chat Sports. Here, just breaking down Alabama athletics in general. You do a great job with the football stuff. You have great insight, great analysis, and I really appreciate you having me on the channel, and I look forward to getting back here on with you as we break down some more position groups as we head into spring practice. I'm sure next week we're going to be looking at some defensive position groups, and I hope that I can join you in that as well, and I really appreciate you having me on the channel. Roll Tide.